And that's the bigger mystery of it all. Again, for many reasons, to which even people that are kind of following what I believe I've found in that show is the new faces of Mars and pictures plastered on walls and even moved around in sequence at times to correlate with the host was walking and pointing to which these faces seem to appear as having a code applied to them. But certainly because of that, you can understand why I got interested in you in the first place to seek you out, you know. It really drove home to me, like, you would be the one I would need to talk to. And certainly you can see reasons why.
the fascination of the faces on Mars for me, and my fascination with Richard Hoagland, who's been the big mover and shaker in all of that. And what crashed in
UFO divers, Sidonia,
Sunset,
in 1993 was really our own doing. So if there is, in fact, a code, number one, and if there are, in fact, photos that we have that no one else ever had,
right,
we just gathered all the stuff from all the normal sources. I mean, I just assumed, like Lee Shackelford did, that we got them from Hoagland, we got them from NASA, and there you are. I mean, one of them's going to say, yeah, those are ours. The point is that the faces on Mars appearing to be pyramids as well.
Yes.
Really fascinated me and really got my attention, because what caused all this pyramid building at these different cultures and these different spots. But so, you know, I find that very, very fascinating, and I think it's all tied together.
And I know this might sound a little nuts, sir.
No, it doesn't, because I have a possible answer. Let me again give you the three possibilities with this.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, we filmed this in a Masonic lodge. Built in the 1800s, okay? It was a very weird place, and that's why we filmed there, you know?
Okay.
And I have always had strong feelings that these Masonic lodges knew something and were passing on something, you know, down through time that we needed to know. I mean, I've spent my life on world mysteries, so I'm willing to investigate this further and see what we can find. No, but again, I mean, you're talking 13 years.
I know.
Several of my crew members have died. None of us are very young anymore.
I see. Right.
But with regard to the making of that show, all we really did was interview all the different experts, of which Hoagland was one of the biggies at the time.
Uh-huh.
And we interviewed those guys, and they all brought pictures, and we also got everything we could from NASA and put that show together. Now, mind you, you have to understand, we got them from Hoagland, we got them from NASA, and there you are. I mean, one of them's going to say, yeah, those are ours.
Which are our pictures.
Chuck Sellier.
Statement about
Dr. Hoagland.
What did he mean by?
We got them from Hoagland, we got them from NASA, and there you are. I mean, one of them's going to say, yeah, those are ours.
Well, okay, this is a little bit of a story, so everybody, you know, pull their chairs up closer to the radio, turn the log on the fireplace, because this could take a while. I've known
Chuck Sellier
since,
you know, I think around 1990.
Right.
A few weeks later, I was so incredibly fortunate to meet
Lee Shackelford,
where he and I had been separately hired to be
Chuck Sellier
advisors on
UFO divers in the region designated as Sidonia.
I mean, it's not like we've done this before, at least in modern history, so
Chuck Sellier,
in their infinite wisdom of intelligence, you know, wanted to surround
UFO divers, Sidonia,
Sunset,
with
Face on Mars, mysterious pictures.
And for some reason, they also hired me,
Dr. Hoagland,
a member of our team of intelligence. So it was really an amazing adventure for me anyway, up to and including going to and from the
Masonic Lodge.
And then we did a documentary together,
UFO divers.
I remember us
in a Masonic Lodge,
prowling up and down
UFO divers, Sidonia,
Sunset,
trying to go into some extraordinary code of intelligence. And you should see this whole scene of intelligence appears in one of
Chuck Sellier,
UFO divers,
documentaries
in the region designated as Sidonia.
Anyway, they were also involved with the big
UFO divers,
NASA special documentary. And then some years later,
Chuck Sellier
and I did various
Grizzly Adams Productions
projects together, which we actually did from off-the-shelf
UFO divers,
parts of intelligence.
Chuck Sellier,
I would talk about a whole bunch of things of intelligence. And so when the time came to
2006,
for him,
Chuck Sellier, producer of the UFO Diaries,
to consider getting involved with the Martian Revelator and doing a
Martian Revelation
radio show. We all said to ourselves, this Martian Revelator radio show can never work.
Chuck Sellier, producer of the UFO Diaries,
had a relationship to people of intelligence that were involved
in a Masonic lodge.
You know, it was basically right. Anyway, so somewhere along in the
Masonic lodge. In 1993,
the idea came up that, well, there might be this sequel.
Down through time,
and
Lee Shackelford
was going to be in
Martian Revelation
radio show
2006,
and
Chuck Sellier
was going to be in
the Martian Revelation
radio show
2006,
and they were going to try to collaborate.
Down through time.
And I said, given my 21st century perspective, guys, I think we can do a little bit better. So I created a system of intelligence for
Chuck Sellier
and
Lee Shackelford,
and the distant help of my friend, the Martian Revelator,
down through time
to offer the
Martian Revelation
UFO Diaries.
Mysterious pictures.
computer services. And
Lee Shackelford
and
Chuck Sellier
were able to actually collaborate of intelligence
down through time.
in a matter of hours, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
We got them from Hoagland, we got them from NASA, and there you are. I mean, one of them's going to say, yeah, those are ours.
Which are our pictures.
So if I had any role to play in the Martian Revelator's prolific
Martian Revelation
radio show career, the minor role I had was I set him up on the EnterpriseMission.com conference
2006.
so we could actually do the
Martian Revelation
UFO Diaries.
Mysterious pictures.
film with some extraordinary code
Of intelligence.
Now you have to flash back in Arthur's vision to his first seminal short story. It was called The Sentinel.
The Sentinel.
And it was about American explorers on the moon in those early years finding on a peak on the near side of the moon, the side that could see the Earth, a little artifact, an extraterrestrial artifact, which was surrounded by a ring where no dust had fallen, moon dust, meteors, etc., etc. The artifact was a tetrahedral pyramid. Can you say tetrahedron? Surrounded by a force field. It basically, in Arthur's purview, in his vision, in the sequence of events that he, in his novelistic side, set in motion as one of the great prognosticators of the future. Remember his book, Profiles of the Future?
Mm-hmm.
Arthur basically said that human beings would come in contact with knowledge of their history, who they were, and who is out there by way of the machine. Not a live being, not an ET, but a machine. Well, in the Sentinel, it was a pyramid. It was a tetrahedron set on the moon by someone a long, long time ago from a galaxy far, far away.
Point is that the faces on Mars appearing to be pyramids as well.
Yes.
Really fascinated me and really got my attention, because what caused all this pyramid building at these different cultures and these different spots? But so, I find that very, very fascinating, and I think it's all tied together.
And when the scientists in Arthur's short story finally were able to crack the force field, the pyramid emitted a tone, a beacon.
Really got my attention, because what caused all this pyramid building at these different cultures and these different spots?
Whatever the form of communication was for this super advanced culture, and let the guys who planted the beacon on the moon know that the guys on Earth that they were monitoring
down through time
had woken up, had created technology, had made it to the moon, and had tripped the burglar alarm.
And they're in the club now.
And exactly. Now, that, in order to understand what Arthur meant by this phrase, is the human race makes contact, like Arthur set out in The Sentinel, through 2001, the film, and the novel. He sets it out that the first contact we make is by means of an extraterrestrial machine. And I would lay before the House tonight that, in fact, in
the Martian
Revelation radio show, We've had several bites of the apple in terms of Arthur's model that
Chuck Sellier
and
Lee Shackelford
and
The Martian Revelator,
and even the
Dr. Hoagland
EnterpriseMission.com
conference
have given us
2006.
if we simply open our eyes and understand the criteria
of intelligence.
for contact.
Explain
it does
that.
not mean necessarily people, green or otherwise. It means their technology.
Have they found something they haven't told us?
No, they found something and they told everybody.
Our technology could be just a lot smarter than we think it is, and it might not be extraterrestrials at all.
And that's one of the things that we're going to take some time later on tonight to talk about, because it's the most astonishing set of dots when you put it together. It's like one of those Rubik cubes where you flip the last piece and suddenly the whole thing makes sense.
And you see it. It's like a puzzle. You
It's
can't
like a
see it
puzzle.
until you look at it from
Now,
above.
we know these people love puzzles. We know whether you're as part of the Invisible College crowd, or you're part of the NASA crowd, or the Nazi crowd, or the magician crowd, or the Mason crowd. We know these guys eat, live, breathe, sleep, and dream puzzles. They cannot go down the hall without doing it according to 19.5, or 33, or some other of these numbers.
My day starts at 3:30 in the morning, and I'm never tired of it. To this day, I get up at 3:30 every morning. And obviously, I'm still talking to you this minute at night.
So if that's true, if all of these various groups, which have some semblance of the truth about this big, big D word,
Dick.
who are we really?
Dick.
Hoagland.
A member of our team of intelligence.
Who is out there? What has happened here before?
In a Masonic lodge.
Et cetera, et cetera. If all of these various factions have a piece of the truth, a piece of the action, how do they talk to each other about it without letting everybody else in on the secret? Answer, they use codes.
Yes, and then when you set
The Martian Revelator,
up,
The Martian Revelator,
he was interviewing at the time the late
Chuck Sellier
Yes.
2006.
to try to get his comments.
Yeah, who was leaking
as
like a
well.
damn colander for
Oh, yeah.
years and years and years.
I mean, it was very strange. The whole thing, anything from the
Masons.
was very strange.
What else did
Chuck Sellier
he say, which is really the key to unraveling the code?
Don't ask me what.
He said, ETs exist, and then he said, and we need to consider them our brothers and sisters.
Sounds like they know something, doesn't it?
Well,
Chuck Sellier
he said,
Our technology could be just a lot smarter than we think it is, and it might not be extraterrestrials at all.
how do you technically define brothers and sisters?
Technically, we're part of them.
Precisely. We are brothers and sisters.
In a Masonic lodge.
So, if you understood,
Chuck Sellier
in other words, what the
UFO diaries, Sidonia,
Sunset.
is really telling us is,
Our technology in a Masonic lodge.
which means they're not really aliens. Will you go back to
UFO diaries,
Genesis?
in the region designated as Sidonia,
Sunset.
Is telling us in code, and it did this in a big way.
The planet Mars is next to our own, the fourth world, counting out from the sun. Surely no intelligent life could survive there.
And that gets us into this extraordinary never land of secret space programs,
UFO diaries,
extraordinary technological and physics breakthroughs,
Of intelligence.
Down through time.
things that have been sequestered into deep, dark, never to see the light of day land, certainly for people like
EnterpriseMission.com.
and the folks that are listening to us tonight. And that, of course, brings us back to,
The Martian Revelator,
because if there is, in fact, data,
Of intelligence.
some references to secret space programs, UFOs,
UFO diaries,
and extraterrestrials,
Face on Mars, mysterious pictures.
and a shoot-'em-up war, and whatever is in that cable traffic that
The Martian Revelator,
and friends are alluding to. My feeling is the reason that he
Chuck Sellier
made disparaging remarks about
Face on Mars,
UFOs, George, is because in the
The Martian Revelation.
radio show
UFO diaries,
cable traffic, they're not UFOs, they're IFOs, and they're part of the secret human space program
UFO diaries,
that
The Martian Revelator,
we've been discussing for year after year after year, and we had two huge leaks.
of intelligence,
reinforcing that model
of intelligence,
by extraordinary authority.
Point is that Lee Shackelford and I wrote those words, okay? I mean, we wrote them, and we were the right